Okay, the speech is almost over. I was listening to it again because I'm ready to talk. A couple of days have gone by and the dust has settled and I'm ready to say what I think. Here we go. I was listening to the speech again today, and the first thing that caught my attention was the fact that he said that he was nervous. You know, I'm not going to talk about the water. I'm just going to talk about what's happening and why Marco Rubio is a big deal. It's not that I'm obsessed with one person. It's just that the fact is that he does represent everything that is going on in the GOP. He's in the center of this back and forth, this tug of war, and he is expressing himself as being between Rove and the Tea Party, and that's just, he wants to have it both ways. Just in an article today, he said that, because he had accepted money from Karl Rove, and he's starting to backtrack. He's starting to drop the name of Karl Rove, that it's okay to, accept donations and so forth, but that as an afterthought, the Tea Party is okay too. So he puts Rove first, who I think he is beholden to, and then he comes up with the Tea Party as an afterthought, like, okay, yeah, they supported me, they voted for me, but you know what? You can't have it both ways, Marco. You want to have the benefits of all the money that you get from the establishment, and at the same time, you want the people to support you for things that you campaigned on, and you backtrack on all these things. You were for small government, but at the same time, you're coming up with different programs. By the way, I noticed you didn't do a lot of immigration reform. And so the first little thing that I caught, you said that your parents came here for opportunity. No, we came here because we were being politically persecuted, 500,000 of us. No, we did not come here for jobs. Sorry. I think that's important to point out because the term political refugee, I keep repeating this, and I am a political exile. I will always be a political refugee, so will my parents, because that's our history. And there's a history attached to that term, and it does scare people because it scares them because the left doesn't like that, and now it scares the GOP party because, God forbid, we say something that is anti-communist. Our parents, because they spoke out against their government or because they were from the right side of the government and from the previous government, were punished and persecuted and tortured in jails and everything, and it's just diminishing the importance of why they came. I have this inside of me because the other thing was, at the very beginning of your career here, campaigning for senator, you said something about, you forgot when your parents got here. How can anybody forget when their parents came here? My grandfather sat across from me in this little, we came on a plane, and there were like four of us, my grandmother, my grandfather, and then myself and my little brother, and we were across from each other because back then there were planes where you had seating arrangements like in a train, you sat across from each other, and I saw a tear rolling down my grandfather's face. And I was only 4, but I remember it, and I just remember the sadness and the big deal and the planes and the motors of and the sound, the noise of the motors, and getting here, and the heat, and the just the commotion in the airport, and the balloon popping that made my little brother like freak out and start crying. And I remember that. I remember the big old vaccine they put on my leg. I still have the marks on my left arm. There's 2. How can anybody? I mean, every year we celebrated the fact that we had arrived, and that it was an anniversary. It was a momentous. It's just like a birthday. How can anyone forget that? Okay, getting back to the speech. Rubio has been caught. He's like a little fish wiggling in a net. He has been caught by our GOP antagonists, the ones who have declared a war against us. Yes, Rove dished out the money, and now Rubio is one of them. This is why last night for me was another official moment. There are so many. It's just, I just, for the life of me, I don't understand why Rubio would want to go establishment, other than the fact that to him the money is confusing his message. And it's all this process and this transformation. Sippy cup episode, he was sweating. He was sweating. He was wiping his brow. He was sweating bullets. He was wiping his brow. He was cleaning. He was cleaning the corners of his mouth. Rubio has turned his soul over to the other side and the very dark side. And he shouldn't just answer to us. I think he eventually has to. Rubio, you have to answer to your God. You are worshiping at the altar of the dollar, because why else would you say the things you say and do the things you do? You are beholden to people who are not for small government and who are against the Tea Party. So you cannot be for the Tea Party and for Karl Rove. It just does not, you can't. One thing is naturally against the other. Rove is anti-Tea Party, and we know he represents who the GOP is owned by. So he is your puppet master. I think it is very sad. It's very evil what's going on. I think you need to do a little repenting on your, a little soul searching. Where is your soul? Another thing, you're from Florida, and how can you represent Florida if you don't live here, and why are you moving to DC? What is so special about Washington DC? Why are you moving away from the people? Well, you don't need to answer to us anymore. I guess you've already made your decisions. I do want to talk to Mark Levin. Mark, you're going to have to stop giving Rubio a pass. I love Michelle Malkin, but what is the deal with Michelle Malkin, Sean Hannity, Mark Levin? What is going on? I don't even care about the name, the Tea Party. I'm more concerned about the spirit of the movement more than anything. And in general, I'm not really concerned about talking shop. I just want to get to the spirit of things. And the spirit of what is going on is called rhinoceritis. And these people are all infected. We have people who are starting to see things from the point of view of the rhino, because the lines are being blurred. It's just not clear cut anymore who's who. It's not because we're extreme, it's because we know who we are, we know what we stand for, and we're crystal clear. It's called political clarity. I am going to challenge anyone in forget Fox News. They're on the other side already. So I'm going to challenge Michelle, Mark, and Sean Hannity to tell me why it is that it's okay. Is Rubio a kind of wicked attempt by the GOP to dissolve the Tea Party message? Is that what the GOP tried to do? Because it's going to fail. I mean, I see right through this. I hope other people see right through it too. Voters, you need to understand what's going on. This party is just turning people over, and it's like a herd mentality. If you're not a rhino now, it's just, look, I do not dislike Marco Rubio. He is just symptomatic of the hurting. And I call it hurting because I wrote an essay about it, and it was about how people start to transform when they start thinking in terms of the people as being the enemy, and so they become threatened. And I really believe that the GOP, the reason why they're so against us is because they feel threatened, because really um, they are not individualistic, and so they have to conform to whatever it is that they conform to, the establishment mindset. They they cannot think for themselves. I believe that the establishment is acting like wild animals who are afraid of hunters. He, I think, is threatened by Ted Cruz, and I think that's why he mentions him every chance he gets. This is what Roe has done. He has completely uh, inserted himself into races and lost those races for us. You may not like Christine O'Donnell, but Rove back then was still in. He still had credibility. He's lost that. I'm so happy he lost it. That's wonderful. It just goes to show it's like nature has a way of cleansing and purging the negativity in life. Okay, so we have a Rove who has inserted himself into races where Tea Party candidates have lost because of comments he has made. So he's not a good guy. So if someone like Rove is being justified and defended by someone like Rubio, then we have a situation where Rubio is a rhino because rhinos start seeing things from the point of view of those who are against us. That is it in a nutshell. So yes, supporters of Marco Rubio, stop treating him like a baby. He's a grown-up. Stop coddling him. Congratulations on the marketing of the Rubio bottle, but that will not erase the actual the lack of he does not fit the role. He does not fit the suit. He does not fit the shoes that have been handed there for him to fill. He's not material for president, and the more you guys hang on to that little dream, the worse it is going to be. He made a mistake, and he made it because maybe in his mind those were the last traces of a conscience of someone who knows he is losing the confidence of the people, and he knows we're on to him, and he knows, and he's nervous, and again, I it's sad to see. But hey, if this is politics, if this is a sport for him, and that's all that matters, then he's just a hack, and I have to call it by name. If he acts like a rhino, then he is a rhino. You are what you do. His words will never convince me if he breaks his promises. So I don't want any promises from him. I just wanted to give the money back now that I know where it came from. Give the money back and make your own money and be your own man. You're not your own man. You're just one of them. You're just a suit in Washington. That's it. I love this country. Thank you for this opportunity. This was so much fun.